Hello everybody and welcome to a new YouTube video. The highly anticipated, a little overdue Void Spirit guide here. This is for 7.37D. Void Spirit has been one of my all-time favorite heroes. You know, Spirit heroes, most fun mid-heroes in my opinion. Storm's my favorite. Then probably a tie between Ember and Void Spirit, but like it really depends on the patch. Like some Ember patches are so much fun, and sometimes there's something more satisfying about Void Spirit than the other spirits when you have a good game because you're mostly like single target burst. And even though I did kind of prefer the magic era of Void Spirit with like E-Blade and Kaya Sange, the current version is pretty good. I wasn't a big fan of the like Void Spirit carry era we had a year ago when they like reworked Universal Heroes and stuff. Like they just added them in. But I like the current version. You have the option by default to go like a Daedalus type of build where you get physical damage, bursting supports. Or if you need a lot more magic damage for your team, and like specifically like it amplifies magic damage, so getting like Parasma and Shivas instead is also viable. So many different item choices you make that I'll go over in the guide. Um, this time in the guide, I wanted to go over this page first because I think it's been a bit of a like misstep from my part to not mention how to find the guide in game. I had it linked in the description before, but I was getting a decent amount of comments like, "How do I use the guide in game? Where is it?" Um, I will link it in the description below, and make sure you favorite it. And you'll be able to find it in game in the shop section, and I'll show you guys when I get into a demo lobby. Um, for the most part, the skill build and stuff like that, this is the standard. I will mention when you can go other builds later in the guide. And I also have like little write-ups for pretty much every item. I don't have one for the bracer there, but or branches, but like starting items, when you want to get certain situational items, what I think the core items are, um, what the abilities do. There'll also be like a link to the YouTube guide on here. I don't know how many people are really going to find this through the in-game, but this will be like everything you'd realistically want to know about Void Spirit, more so of a crash course, and should help you learn the hero a lot faster than if you were just trying to compile this information on your own. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. I'm gonna hop into the demo mode right now and showcase a bunch of different stuff on Void Spirit, really. So hey guys, just a friendly reminder that you should subscribe to the channel. Currently I have like 2,500 subs. My goal is 100 million subscribers, so I'm kind of far away from that. So if you could just throw me a subscription, really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. We'll achieve the goal soon. I know it. Something I try to tell people all the time is instead of going to the actual demo lobby, you can demo terrains, which is what I'll be doing here, and you will load into the actual map without having to start a custom lobby of some kind with cheats, and you'll get the little demo thing here on the side. I'm going to select Void Spirit. Normally I set this up a bit in advance as well, so bear with me as we go. And first thing, I'm going to change the order of these guides too. Before I was going over some tips and tricks and other stuff first before the skill and item builds, but I really want to emphasize like skill build and item builds first. And of course, there'll always be chapters in the video so that you can click on and go to the parts you really care about. Like maybe you already know the skill builds, or you're just going to follow the in-game guide kind of and don't want like a super in-depth build. And again, where you find the guide will eventually be in-game on here. Just make sure it's favorited so it comes up at the top. Yeah. So I will switch to this, and now I have this nice little side guide here, and it also highlights what skills to upgrade. So pretty much always, let me just get all of my level ups first, up to 25. So pretty much always, you're going to get Resonant Pulse level 1. This helps you sustain yourself in lane and secure some last hits. So it comes out pretty quickly. It gives you a little shield. It gives you more of a shield if you hit a hero. 75 HP is pretty good, especially level 1. It's not exactly like a Tango or something, but it adds up a lot. You don't only have to use this to secure creeps. I recommend using it that way until you at least have your bottle. Later on, sometimes I use it when I'm about to go for a deny. Like I'm against Lena, I'll block her Dragon Slave with it. Maybe I'll if I'm against a really bad matchup like Shadow Fiend, maybe I'll use it to block some Shadow Raises when I go in for a deny or a creep. But don't underestimate the shield part of it either. This will help you win a lot of trades. Next up, we're mostly going to get the Q. And the number one mistake I see people make when I coach or review replays on my stream for Void Spirit is they use this spell too much. It's only 75 mana, but just keep in mind that Resonant Pulse is like a double positive. Not only does it do damage to them and secure a CS, maybe 2 if they're set up, you also get to kind of get some healing from it if they damage your shield. Whereas this, Aether Remnant, if you can get an auto attack on them, or they're going to tank some creeps, like the creeps are pushing into them and you remnant them into them, maybe you secure a deny, those are all decent times to use it. Even so, I would say it's a little greedy, and it depends on how much mana you have to use it too much on denying. I'll show some tricks you can do with it later in lane as well in the harder matchups against a Huskar Viper or something. But for the most part, you're going to use this to win a big trade when they're tanking a bunch of creeps, or to get a cheeky little last hit or deny when your E is cooldown. Most of your mana, again, just use on Resonant Pulse. It is the best laning spell by far on Void Spirit.
Do I choose
now,
this path, or does it choose me?
The second point, and for the most part the third point of Resonant Pulse are pretty value. The damage doesn't go up too much. It goes up by 45. The barrier goes up by, what is that, 45 as well? Right? 25 plus 20, yeah. So it scales okay. But at this point, you want to decide on if you want more wave clear, or if you want to make a jungle stack for yourself. Like, if I'm against Huskar, for example, or Viper, I'm not putting more than 2 points in Pulse. Unless I'm getting a lot of ganks, maybe I'll even go like 3 points in Pulse, 1-1. But your comeback plan is usually on both sides, stacking either this camp, or if you can, all the way over here is a little safer. You can Aether Remnant the camp from the low ground. You can, usually the Dire camp's a little annoying, but starting to max Dissimulate is really, it's your most efficient wave clear and farming spell. So I typically go for that if I'm not winning the lane, or I just want more wave clear and stuff. If you're trading a lot and winning your lane, more points in Pulse is good, and Aether Remnant. There's even some games I'll go 4-1-4. Very versatile skill build, like I said. The Q levels and the E levels will help you fight a lot more. Dissimulate just helps with wave clear, and using it for damage is okay, but keep in mind that 1 second that you're not in the game, you're not attacking. So, like, you can press E, you can press Q, and just start attacking immediately. And you deal a lot of right-click damage with Treads as a universal hero. So it's not like apples to apples saying, like, oh, this does 360 damage, this does 195. Because usually you can fit an auto attack or so in with the Pulse. But yeah, not going to rant too much about that. But at this point, at level 4, you're going to get Dissimulate. And then at level 5, you decide Pulse or max Dissimulate. And the one last thing I'll say about Pulse is I like playing Void Spirit a decent amount against Puck. Almost always against Puck, I try to get a big charge wand early and max my Pulse, because the same thing happens so often where supports come when Puck is 6. I get coiled at the rune or something, and if I have 20 wand, raindrop, and level 4 Pulse, and I shield on like 2, maybe even just 1 hero, I can just tank the coil and run out, or just sit there and they all die trying to kill me. There are some situations where like even more than 3 points of Pulse is fine. But again, especially for beginner Void Spirit players, I recommend trying to just like level Dissimulate more often than not. So decide if you want the third point, if your lane's going okay, if it's slowing down, or you just want to farm more, max Dissimulate from here on out, and then Pulse second. You're obviously going to get the ult at 6. And then you're going to max the Q. Don't get any talents until all of your spells are maxed. And then you'll have the option for your 15 talent first, which will be Resonant Pulse damage, because it doubles with the Ags, which is really nice. And I mean, it's not, this talent's not a big deal. The mana regen really doesn't help all that much. It's okay. You can just buy a clarity or something. I typically buy like a null talisman or even a mage slayer in a lot of games. Talk about the items later. The remnant damage, it's like a level in remnant worth of damage. It's not insignificant. It used to add up a lot more when you were like a magic combo, but other players, and me included, still prefer this over the mana regen. It feels like the 10 talent is really not that good. I played around with the Outer Dissimulate talent a long while ago. I loved when it was on the Shard. Unfortunately, you have to pick between Astral Step charge time and the Outer Ring now, and I love the Outer Ring so much, but your ult is like your entire hero later on. Very important that you use the ult properly and you like kind of keep one ready to get out. And you don't just like, unless you really have to burst someone, you don't want to just instantly dump two a lot of the time. And the cooldown just helps a lot. Dissimulate roots used to stun. It roots now. Stunning is better than rooting. And this crit talent's gotten nerfed a decent amount too. I think it used to be even like 180. I know it was at least 160% before, but again, the whole hero right now is a universal hero. You're using the ult to deal a lot of damage, so you'll be getting that at 25. Yeah, that pretty much covers the skill build. Hello guys, Forgetful Danny here. I did forget about the facets and the innate and the shard. All things that really don't matter on Void Spirit. The facet you're always going to take, without exception, unless they change or buff this one, the Call of the Void, is Sanctuary. It is so nice to have an all-damage barrier throughout the entire game, not to mention, like, it helps the laning phase a lot. You can block, like, Puck Orbs or Shadow Fiend Coils, or whatever, right? Like, much nicer to have an all barrier, whereas this Call of the Void, it might save you or do something weird in a team fight at like 30 minutes, but for the most part, it's like almost purely cosmetic. It just looks cool because it doesn't do anything if you dissimulate in the middle. It only goes in the back ones, so it's just like a runaway tool. I don't know. I haven't seen it be useful. I've seen a couple people try it, and it really doesn't do much. Same thing with the innate ability. This is purely passive. You're not going to build in any way to take advantage of it. It doesn't give 25% more stuff from stats, just the secondary bonuses. So if I hover over strength and agility intelligence here, you're not going to get extra health or attack speed or mana, but you will get the small extra bit of health regen, armor, and magic resistance, as well as mana regen. So it does help a little bit. It's not like inconsequential, but it's not something you have to worry about. You'll just get it for free, which is nice. The shard, I'll show really quickly. I've only ever tried the shard on Void Spirit when I get it for free from the Tormentor. Maybe there's like some case to be made if they have a million summons so that it doesn't, like the summons aren't eating your Qs in the fight. It kind of makes it a bit of a wonky wave clear spell, but you don't need this. You have 3 wave clear spells pretty much already. The main benefit, honestly, is the cooldown getting a little lower. And like maybe if they have a million summons, but it's really hard to warrant spending 1,400 gold on this. Void Spirit's not a hero that gets insanely rich usually. Like, you're not a flash farmer a lot of the time, so you need to spend your gold very wisely. Don't worry about the shard that much either. Yeah, my bad for forgetting. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the guide. I just wanted it to be complete. Item build. Starting items, every game will be this. You can get a Fairy Fire in some matchups. You can get a Circlet in some matchups if you really want to. Circlet, let me actually just like reset my hero here. So with 5 branches, these give about 2.1 damage each because I'm universal. If I sell a branch and buy a Circlet, that'll give me 4.2 damage. That might help a little bit if you're against a high base damage hero or you don't think you need the bottle too quickly, but this is the baseline build. You can get a Fairy Fire. It's going to give you less damage than a branch on this hero, which is why I don't typically go for it. In matchups like that, you're going to get dirty in. Like, they're just going to get low and maybe you'll need it. So at your own discretion, you can kind of decide there. I almost always just rush the bottle before 2 minutes. It's important to get the water runes really quickly as mid. Basically like a free fountain trip if you get it before 2 minutes. Must buy every game. Against Huskar or Viper, you can consider boots first and skipping the bottle for a little bit. But kind of like mileage varies there. Like you need a little bit of experience for that. And I'll show some tricks later as well that you can do with boots. But I like getting Bracer a lot, especially like I was talking about in that Puck matchup I like to play against a lot. The extra HP regen and just HP really matters on a hero that has like the barrier. You're going to have a full wand against Puck, against those bursty lineups, against a Tiny as well. Whereas heroes that you're not really caring too much about, like I know Lina does a lot of burst damage, but I'm not really looking to fight a Lina 1v1, so I don't like getting the bracer that much. I'd rather just get my treads and then maybe gank the side lanes or something earlier, right? Rather get to my other items in those harder matchups. If you can stick in the lane a little longer and you have a good matchup, like the Puck, for example, bracer feels really good. You can go back for a null talisman after like wand or treads. Even against Puck, I'll typically buy the stick before the bracer and then finish the wand if my charges are getting full, but I'm trying to save the charge, so I'm trying to use them. After that, I put Mage Slayer in the core items. It's really not an auto purchase anymore on this hero. It was when it lasted 6 seconds. It's very difficult for heroes that aren't Ember Spirit or even like a Ranger like Invoker to upkeep the Mage Slayer debuff on people. You do apply it with your Astral Step, which is still like, you know, a poor man's sleight of fist. It does it in a line, kind of. And it helps a lot when you have like a Sand King, or just a lot of magic damage. A Pudge carry, you can put it like he usually does an Ags Rot build. Even against Queen of Pain, it feels pretty good. Against Storm, it's hit or miss. Most of the time, though, I'll buy either this or a Null Talisman for some extra mana regen. And I'll go either into Manta if I really need a Dispel. If they got silences, they got some roots. Glipnir was in every game a couple patches ago, not so much these days. But those type of things you'll want to rush the Manta against. In a perfect world, you get a pretty fast Aghanims, like 15 minutes, 16 minutes maybe. But you can just buy it after Manta. You're going to want Manta almost every game. There are some games that I skip it, but it is a core item. And main reasoning being, let me get to like level 15 or so. I do 127 damage without, let me get some treads and stuff too. Get like a bit normal build.
With purpose.
So, 177 damage with just 179 damage with these stats, right? If I send these Manta Illusions, and I'll put them on agility just so they attack faster, this will farm me a whole creep wave without me having to go near it or showing my hero, which is really nice. They do a lot of DPS. It's pretty much the same, if not more DPS than a Desolator a lot of the time, if you have them hitting. So if you like Alt Q Manta, it's a lot of DPS. You can also just save it as a Dispel, like I was saying, but very, very good item on Universal Heroes. You're going to go into Ags. After Ags, if you just want to be tankier and you're doing enough damage, and you like, even the cooldown reduction in theory makes you tankier because you'll have your ult up more often, your W more often to escape, and even just the shields more often. So like more of like a survival item and a feel good item is Octarine Core. If there's a support you must kill, let's say like an Oracle, let's say a Lion, something like some backline support, even a Phoenix, you should for sure prioritize your Daedalus next, or in some cases even a Nullifier if they just have like Yules, Glimmer Cape, Solar, they just have all these items you can dispel. But for the most part, it's Daedalus, and that'll help your team more than anything. It's just you ult, silence, kill them in like 2 hits with the Daedalus. And yeah, other than that, situational items. So let's say you want Ags first, and you want a Yules. Yules is okay against Ember Spirit. You can catch him with Yules into Remnant. It dispels the chains. If you're like having a bit of a rougher game, or you're just not feeling like Manta is going to come online fast enough, Yules can work as a dispel, like I was saying. There's other heroes it can be good against as well. Like if you're against an Ursa, it has dual purpose. You can use it during his ult. You can use it to kite him. You can dispel his overpower or whatever. Use it to save yourself. All that good stuff. It also builds into a Wind Waker late game, which is awesome. Like in 50-minute team fights, you can use it as a save. Gives you movement speed, which is nice in the late game, all that good stuff. You've probably played at least a couple overthrow games in your life where everyone's spamming Wind Wakers late game. Dota pretty much becomes that late game as well. Parasma, like I said earlier, is kind of an alternate build for Void Spirit, okay? So if there isn't some big support you need to kill that's like squishy that you'd rather do Daedalus against, or let's say your team is just pretty much like your supports do a lot of magic damage. I'm just going to use a random example. Techies isn't very popular right now, but if you have a Techies on your team and you already have like 2 cores that do a decent amount of right-click damage, buffing your support damage and having like magic damage to kill their carry outside of BKB, if like a super high armor target, like a Terror Plate, for example, with like 50 billion armor, or Dragon Knight. Having magic amp for your teammates and for yourself can deal with those heroes a lot easier. Like, especially against a Dragon Knight or something, if you have Parasma Shivas, that's also 23 armor to make you tanky against their Daedalus, their whatever, and you're going to lower their magic resistance by, 40% in total? 35%? And that matters a lot. Now, again, I picked this hero a lot against Puck. Scythe of Ice, very good against Puck. Eventually, you're going to want one. In the early game, you'll get away with just having Ags, and if he Yules himself, you can throw a Remnant on the ground or another Silence. And the Daedalus will burst the Puck pretty well too. But eventually, like, people are tanky, they're going to live on those Ember Spirits, those Pucks, those Morphlings, those Slarks through your first round of burst, and then maybe even get their BKB off or their Shard, whatever like save they have. Getting Hex as like a 4th or 5th item is very good against those heroes. Talked about Nullifier a bit already. There's a lot of barriers in the meta. A lot of auras as well. It can dispel Crimson and stuff. That also gives you a decent amount of armor. 10 armor is nothing to scoff at. Void Spirit's a very good Nullifier carrier. Like, you don't want to force your carry to get it a lot of the time. And it's not the greatest item to... Like, it doesn't feel great to have. But it does help your team a lot. Again, like, as a Void Spirit, you really want to like fill in the gaps in your team because you're a very versatile hero. Lincolns, you know, your standard, they have a Hex, they have a Doom, they have Legion Commander. Bloodthorn is great with Manta. Let me just buy another one, actually. I forgot my inventory is full. What is going on? Am I using it on myself or something? Okay. Let me make a... I mean, everyone hates Sniper, right? So...
Manual relocation. Sight comes before foresight.
Let me just make a little Sniper real quick.
I want the hidden path.
A lot of damage just from having Manta Bloodthorn, right? Best attack speed item for Void Spirit by far as well. At max level, I do 300 damage with just these items, just because you get 5 damage per level and then all your stats, right? So 100 attack speed is great. The Silence is great. Now, I wouldn't buy Orchid and Aghanim super fast in a lot of games. There's some games I'll get an Orchid first in like very weird scenarios, but I like it like super late game. S and Y I've tried a little bit of. It doesn't feel that good, but if you really need status resistance and you didn't buy a Manta, it is an option. BKB is great. Like I said, most of the time your job is going to be to kill those backline supports. And when they have a few items to kite you, like if you don't burst the Lion during your silences with Ags, you'll get hexed and stuff. But if you have BKB, you're just going to be invulnerable killing both their supports. And then once a Lion's dead, he can't hex you anymore. So if the BKB's gone, it served its purpose. Satanic's another Dispel option late game. Very good if you have like a Daedalus type build. Not something I get too often. I like Silver Edge a lot late game. Just mobility is king late game. And, you know, another attack speed item, which helps a lot for damage too. Monkey King Bar, pretty much worse than Bloodthorn, but if they just have a lot of evasion, they have like a Radiance, a PA, I don't know, like a Butterfly on somebody, like, I would prefer to have the Bloodthorn so my carry also has that, like, buff on, like, debuff usage, right? Help the team focus down people. It really doesn't help you kill supports, and, like, Bloodthorn is way better at killing supports, and again, your goal is usually to kill supports, so that's usually what we try to build towards. Abyssal Blade is cute if they have Juggernaut or Nyx, or Lifestealer, sorry. It's a nice way of canceling like the Rage or Spin TP, or if they just have like someone you really like a Shadow Fiend magic build with BKB that you can just keep bashing when he's trying to ult, stuff like that.
Your top tower is under
Rapier
attack.
is your, oh my god, we're gonna lose, I better buy a rapier.
top tower
It's good
has
with the
fallen.
crit talent. Refresher feels pretty good if you have like a BKB or a Hex or something that you can double up on, and 4 Astral Steps will clear anybody late game pretty much. But yeah, that's enough about items. Some tips and tricks, okay? So I'm gonna get to level 7. And I'm gonna have just this. I need the creep waves to kind of reset a bit, but I don't think I want to reload the lobby. You know, I'll just reload the lobby real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm not even gonna cut this out. It's just gonna take 2 seconds. Something you should try to keep in mind, especially on heroes with wave clear through spells, is kind of your breakpoints for clearing waves. So this is a little bit dependent on items. I'm just gonna give myself like, I'd say this is pretty normal for level 7. Your options to clear waves are either Wing into it and then pulsing or ulting away, or double ulting if you're really scared. Like if no one's showing and you need to clear the wave, you can ult in, ult out, or ult into pulse. Now, we'll talk about another option after that can save some mana too, but this is a huge thing. Anytime I coach a Void Spirit player or watch a Void Spirit replay of like a stream review, I do like replay reviews on stream for some of my viewers. They're very bad at nuking the waves and using too much mana. You don't know how many people I've seen Astral Step, Pulse, then Dissimulate a creep wave, which is no, that's way too much mana. So I'll unpause here. You can Astral Step in and E, hit a few times. That's good enough to clear a wave if like this is your skill build. Even if this was only level 3. So let me actually do it that way too. And this is really, really important, I promise you. Wait for the next wave to come. And another thing I'll really emphasize as well is just being comfortable with the W. So you want to hit that one first, and then same thing, you can just wrap these up. And go back to farming. If you noticed, it didn't kill the wave instantly. It will with level 2 Astral Step and level 4 Pulse. It does kill it pretty quickly, but you're left a little vulnerable, right? There's a few seconds where you're lasting the creeps or you're still on top of the wave. And next wave, I'll show what happens if you do it this way. Now with level 2, that'll full clear. You can use a pulse as well. I was a little impatient there. If I let the creeps fight a little bit first and they got a little lower on the melees, the double ult would have cleared the entire wave. So if you're about to go back to base, or everybody's missing, you think they're smoked, and you're alone, and you don't mind putting this on a like 50-second cooldown pretty much, because you'll need to wait that long for both charges, then perfectly fine. Like if you're going to go back to base afterwards, you'll pretty much have 2 Astral Steps by the time you come out anyway, and Bob's your uncle. Now, something I want people to be more used to, and this isn't a full wave, but bear with me, getting the W into the wave. And it's for 120 mana, it's pretty much the same as casting both of these, which is 215 mana. And I'll show it again on the next wave too. You want to be very used to when you're not under, I don't know if like duress is the right word, if you're not like time constrained in killing the wave that much, getting used to this range, and then just last hitting all the creeps afterwards is your most cost-effective way of wave clearing. You can even wait for the creeps to get a little lower before you jump in, and then it comes off cooldown. When I'm done, I can W into the camp. Same thing over here, I could have W'd into that camp. Another thing you want to be decently efficient with, and I know these creeps are kind of low now, but on Radiant, on this camp, and on Dire on these 2 camps, you can pull them together. Do a little bit one of these, you know, that's pretty efficient. Even though it was 2 spells, we're killing 2 camps. Get a little stack there. But just get really used to clearing waves with W. Another option you have, if you are a little less scared, wait for the next creep wave to come as well, is this is what I'll do when I'm pushing side lanes, and it's like the last wave before I think like maybe they'll gank me. I'll W in and ult out, and that clears the whole wave as well. And that, keep in mind, this is with level 1 ult. It becomes even easier with more points in ult because it'll clear more of the wave. But that's super important. Other things that you want to get used to on Void Spirit as far as using your abilities, okay? I'm going to spawn a enemy sniper here. And I'm just going to have him move back and forth a bunch. I'll level him to max. Your ult has a little slow on it, so I'll show, right? See how that little slow? That's what you want to use to set up your W if you're trying to catch someone from far away. If someone is already stunned, okay, you can Q from far away. Just keep in mind that if I Q here, the Q has to run all the way out. If I do it under my feet, it comes out instantly. So again, like when you astral step in, you want to do it as close to your hero as possible. The only like difficulty being that if you do it like too close to the sniper, sometimes I've made the mistake where like I put it on top of them and it doesn't hit them, so I hit the creep there. My bad. I'll try and showcase it again. But like I did it on top of his hero. This is something I did a lot when I first started playing Void Spirit. So you can't do it like perfectly. If you do it at like the bottom like that, it's a little easier, but just don't miss. It's fine, especially with level 2 ult. Like the slow is a lot nicer. With level 3, they basically can't move anymore, but something to keep in mind. If you're ganking from the trees, so let's say like you get bonus points if like say a sniper's sitting here for whatever reason, he's checking his Facebook, his girlfriend's texting him, whatever. If you can W in and then Q, that saves all the time, especially with max W, that saves the like travel time in quotes of dissimulate. Because if I like alt QW, I'm not auto attacking. I'm in dissimulate. Whereas if I start with dissimulate, say they're already slowed down or something, I still have both my ults to get out too, so I can alt in, alt out, something like that. That's pretty much all you really need to know about Void Spirit. I know it's like really condensed. There isn't too many other tricks I can think of that you really need to know about. If there is any questions or stuff that I'm kind of missing about this, let me know in the comments. But that is like 99.9% of all situations and how to use the spells, in my opinion. Now, I didn't really want to spawn a sniper. I like to always talk about when you should pick Void Spirit. So I mentioned a lot earlier in the guide that he's pretty decent at catching heroes like Puck with his Ag Silence. But for the most part, you want to have some heroes on your team because especially after the universal changes, the spells have gotten nerfed a lot on Void Spirit, okay? These used to do a lot more damage, especially Pulse, and Astral Step was 150 level 1, and it adds up a lot over time, all these small nerfs, just because he does so much right-click damage. So you kind of want some squishier, low-armor supports on the enemy team. Again, I mentioned like Lion and Oracle before. It's pretty okay against Pugna. The silence is nice against him too. I would love to play against Ancient Apparition every game, for example, as Void Spirit. It can feel okay against Enchantress sometimes, but she's like really tanky. The only nice thing about it is your ult doesn't get slowed down. Like you will have slow auto attacks after. But heroes you want on your team, stuff like not so much really Mirana, but like backline supports that do damage. So like a Skywrath Mage, a Techies, Snapfire's great. Someone you can kind of go in, they can follow up on. So when you alt Q, they can land all their spells. Rubik is even fine. It feels a lot worse. Let's say you have like Naga Siren and Shadow Demon on your team. You're going to find it a little difficult to like smoke as 3 and find some kills because you will not feel like you do that much damage to cores by yourself until way later on, like your Ags, Daedalus type of timing. Especially if they have like some Dragon Knight or Life Stealer, even a tiny mid. Now, if they have like a Storm mid, they have like, what's like a... It's hard to think of a squishy offlaner in the current patch with all the auras, but even if they have like... I mean, Visage is not too tanky a lot of the time, I guess, but even Timbersaw is not that tanky to Void Spirit, ironically. I don't know how many people are playing Wind Ranger offlane these days, but you kind of get the idea. You want some targets that you can for sure get gold off killing in the early game, like whether it's supports that you can kind of Midas or just some obvious hero you will be able to target in fights always, at the very least. A good lane is important. I wouldn't pick this hero without last pick, and unless you're very comfortable laning against like Viper Huskar, because this hero does not jungle very fast, okay? Even with max Dissimulate, it's going to take like level 7 level 8 or 9 to max Dissimulate a lot of the time, which is like asking a lot against Huskar Viper, because you want 1 point in Remnant and 2 points in Pulse no matter what for your lane. I don't hate playing this hero with the current ranged carry meta, but it feels good if you have heroes that will go in or start a fight, and then during the chaos, either you start the chaos for them, so like you kind of build off each other, or in a chaotic fight, you're like playing on the outskirts and waiting for their supports. Like maybe Oracle's coming in to heal the guy getting focused, and you go on him and you kind of break things up. You don't want to be always fighting from the front and a lot of the time, and you don't want to be just hitting who everyone else is hitting. You want to like break up the fight and make it a bit more chaotic a lot of the time.
I do not hesitate.
Oh yeah, I forgot to show some tips and tricks actually. So I won't like cut this, but this will be a little bonus tips and tricks before I get into the example Void Spirit game.
My quiver and bow are ready.
Something you need to be very cognizant of is, and I'll get boots, against like the Huskar Viper bad matchups. What you want to be doing a lot of the time with your boots is, and I might be a little late here, you can use your, maybe not for the first wave, so we'll wait for the second wave. I don't remember what the rules are. I just know around like 2, 3, 4 minutes, I end up doing this a lot against Viper Huskar if I can. I'll even give up a whole wave if I can. You want the wave bouncing back and forth so you can farm the tower and all that, but usually you get stuck in a place where you're going to have to come behind here or from here. And you can use your Q to drag the wave. You can bring it up here. And Huskar, Viper, they will have like boots a lot of the time, but they're very slow. They're going to have to deal with their creeps under the tower. And you kind of bring them to safety. If you have time, you can bring them between the tower to make the next waves meet. And you have to hit them when you come up to high ground as well, so they have vision of you. So I had time to bring it all the way over here. And when the creeps will meet, they're going to meet in the tower, which is okay, but it kind of gums up the lane equilibrium, so you're not just stuck getting denied every creep. If you can pull it from here and like bring it up this way, you will have enough time to bring it further back, but it's obviously a lot safer to go here. The way the aggro works in like the first 5 minutes is you can't drag them from here. They have to be within like the aggro radius of the tower, kind of, or like one screen of the tower. I don't know the exact units, but if you pull them from here, you'll be fine. They just have to be able to like see the tier 1 tower.
I choose this path.
And yeah, that wraps up this portion of the guide. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will go through one of my own replays that I played recently and show off like a typical Void Spirit game and my thought processes and stuff. So stick around for that. If not, thanks for watching the video, and next guide will probably be QoP, so hopefully that's exciting for you guys. And yeah, on to future me. Hello guys, welcome back to the second part of the Void Spirit guide. I did pretty well in this game. Something I actually just realized, I forgot to mention that I love having Magnus on my team as Void Spirit. It's awesome to have Empower as a universal hero, let alone, like, it's always been good on Void Spirit. You don't cleave with your ult, unfortunately, but I was against a rank 400 Puck this game. I think he did a little better than me in the lane. I don't remember. It's been a few days since I played this game. And this was a very good example of a game, I believe. I hope it's this one. If not, you know, how bad could it be? Like, it looks like a pretty even game. I was ranked 800 against 400. We have a rank 280 on our team. The game is like a bit mixed skill. Like, I think rank 3K is 8K MMR, maybe not, like maybe closer to 9K. I'm 11.2 right now, so there's a bit of a discrepancy there. But well, without further ado, we'll jump into it. I do a pretty standard build this game, and this is the matchup I recommend trying Void Spirit against a lot, like Puck. It kind of goes a little both ways. It's like a very skillful matchup on both sides. It's really fun to play. And yeah, I will be fast forwarding a decent amount of this. and just talking as I go. So I'm going the standard build. Maybe I could have gone a circlet. I don't think I want a fairy fire against Puck, but just stuff to keep in mind. Just some clowny stuff happening level 1. Monkey King gets first blood. I think they got the ward too, unfortunately. So like I mentioned in the guide, Pulse level 1. I'm going to use Pulse to secure as many last hits as possible until bottle. Don't fall in the trap of saving it for the range creep. Normally, I recommend pulsing that melee creep there, but I was 99.999% sure I just last hit it. Puck was really far away, and his animation's pretty far. So here, I was able to just keep my pulse for another creep. Go and get 2 creeps with it pretty much. Trade a little bit. Feels good. Yeah, pretty standard so far. What did you expect? So here, something I talked about before, I see a lot of students or like people I've watched replays of that are lower rank, or even just average rank. They would queue here always to try and deny these creeps or to put damage on the Puck. I'm probably going to save it either for the range creeps or just not use it. It's like very marginal to use your Aether Remnant in spots like this. It feels much better if he was up here out of the tower and I could hit him a few times or like get a deny hit him once. I'm all for that, but like I said, try to limit your Aether Remnant usages because they feel pretty bad. So he popped out of the tower there. I kind of look dumb right now because I used it in a weirder spot than I would recommend. I would have preferred I saved it for this moment right here when the range creeps are going to crash into the tower. See, he just got 2 for free there. But yeah, even I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. You guys can make fun of me. Something that you want to do a lot on Void Spirit in a lot of matchups, not always against Puck, but dragging the creeps so that you can always secure range with Pulse or Remnant if you have to, but dragging the creeps back so that he will have to tank melee creeps to hit you, and you're able to make his projectile as far as possible from the melee creeps, basically. Like if he tries to deny this creep or last hit this range creep, he's really far away, so it adds extra time to his hits, whereas I'm right next to it, which feels really good.
You didn't want that.
Yeah, aggroing creeps is nice. Here's a little unfortunate. It's a really big wave. I mess up. I drag the wave back with the Remnant there. That's a nice like little bonus move you can do. And I think is around here, if I recall correctly, where the lane gets kind of weird because Puck did the thing where he made a big wave, took both the water runes, and now I kind of look stupid. And at this point, and in a lot of lanes, you'll come to this kind of inflection point a little later, a little earlier, or not a little earlier, usually a little later in the lane, like the 4-minute rune, where, okay, I'm a little bit behind on regen. I can't really trade with him anymore because his bottle's full and mine isn't. If I got a water rune, it'd be fine. I could keep laning as normal, but I am not going to like overextend for denying creeps. I'm not going to try and poke him. I'm just going to play to get my own CS and experience. Maybe I'll go for the bounty rune and give up a creep or 2. But I'm not trying to like solo kill him or make a big play. I'm trying to like not necessarily like give up on the laning phase, but get out of the laning phase with as good as a game as possible. So like just playing a little more defensively now. So I did get the bounty. I missed a couple creeps for it. That's fine. I don't care if I hit 6 first anymore. It's not going to result in a kill anyway. Not going for too many denies. Get that one, which is nice, but just playing safe, getting my farm. And Puck is pulling away with this lane a little bit. You know, he got both runes again. But we're not too far off his CS. We're down 4 denies and 1 CS. That's not terrible for getting 0 water runes. And it's kind of worst case possible for me, and I'm still doing okay because, look, I'm just not going that close to the wave. I even sneak a deny there. He's hitting me a lot here, actually, but getting my wand, and like I talked about in the guide, I like this matchup a lot. I played it a lot. My stick is about to get full. I'm not trying to use it to heal myself. I want to have 20 charges ready for when he's got his coil and the supports come. or on the 6-minute rune, if I can have even 15 charges in the rune fight, that'll be awesome for me. Get a bottle fill, that is like peak for me right now, because I didn't get any water runes. I don't remember if they dive me here or the next wave. I remember being dived at some point. Here it is, the coil. I had a 20 stick, I had a raindrop, I even have a healing salve. And it would have been nice if I caught him, but you can see like their dive just ends up being really bad for them. Puck even dies here. And a lot of that, like, yes, I'm behind in CS. Yes, I was losing my lane. Yes, that was really awkward. My tower took a lot of damage, but it's because I saved my wand charges. I brought that salve. I brought the range up out. I played really safe. And just, like, important, like, I wouldn't say, like, super skillful, but just adjusting to when things going, like, are going bad and not letting the game get off the rails.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So normally I'd say not to max pulse, but I know this matchup is like, it's like a Rocky movie. Like, you are just gonna get like beat on both sides. It's gonna be dirty, and the extra barrier just helps so much. Most other matchups, like I said, just leave pulse at 2 or 3. Okay, so they got the rune again, and here they go jumping us. So I get a double shield there. I missed my ult, whatever. And because they're going on me and not the supports as well, like, I don't know why they keep trying to focus me. They're just not really getting any kills here. Like, they are throwing pretty hard, just focusing me, and I'm pretty tanky. I'm built to last. I'm ahead of the puck by a lot now, I would say. Maybe not so much in net worth, but if I pan over to levels, half a level is like a pretty good amount in the early game, I would say. Especially considering how far behind I was in the lane after a certain amount. Brood is coming, another kill. Just getting out. Ooh, that was a lot of spiders. Tower's going down, that's okay. I'm just going to rush Ags against Puck. Some people go for a Yules here and there. I didn't want to get a Yules against Shadow Demon. And I think just getting the Ags is typically like your best bet in a lot of the time, in a lot of matchups. It's annoying to get the purge on you because it'll dispel your shields too, but and again, just baiting another easy double. And you can tell Radiant's probably tilted at this point. Very, very tilted. Other thing that's nice is having Empower. Eventually he'll have it leveled. I think it's probably only level 1 right now. Magnus isn't too popular right now either. I don't even know what build they really go. Always take the shovel if you can, neutral item wise. I haven't really talked about neutral items. Shovel's just broken for mid right now until they patch out the digging water runes in the river. You just, if you're mid and you have a bottle, you take the shovel. There's just like no way around it. If you don't get the shovel, tough luck, you're sad. I don't know how game deciding it is. Something else that I'll mention after this fight plays out, I'll see if anything cool happens. I do have a DB. Oh my god, I have a PL on my team. I can't believe I won a game with a PL. Something that's also important in the early game, even when I was struggling in lane, I always made sure to have enough mana to cast all my spells and enough HP to fight. I wasn't sitting low in lane. I wasn't spamming all my spells for CS, even if my lane was going bad, because I'm keeping enough mana to join fights like this. The way you scale on Void Spirit is showing up to fights and getting kills. I'm top net worth on my team with 54 CS. I have 7 kills. It doesn't mean you forgo all last hits, but you want to be in as many fights as possible. Obviously not the ones where like 4 of your teammates are dead, you show up and then die with them or something, but like any sort of even-ish scrappy fight, you want to show up. You don't want to die. You want to prioritize like playing safe enough so that you don't die. You don't want to just all in all your spells on somebody, then they change and focus you. But picking off as many people in these fights, and I even come out of this fight like pretty much full HP still. So I can stay on the map. I don't have to go back to base. I'm going to dig a little water in this little pool here. That'll feel good. Finish the tower. I think I die here. I don't remember. I'm fine. Maybe not.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Aghanim's finished. Amazing gameplay. Look at that shovel, just healing me to half when I backpacked my Aghanims. Ridiculous item, man. I have another shovel in 10 seconds as well. Broken item. I don't know if I actually finished the BKB this game. I do like it a decent amount. But I think I'd kind of prefer Manta, to be honest. I think I missed one of my ults here and it kind of loses the fight. Everyone makes mistakes. But yeah, this is a pretty even game. Oops, I didn't mean to click on the scoreboard there. Yeah, about 50-50. I don't know how much the green line prefers PL these days. I don't prefer having PL on my team at all. Some gameplay there, guys. Some clown gameplay. I missed all my spells.
Radiant are scanning.
Showed that Shadow Demon to come close to my tower, though. He will get purple all over his screen. A big power spike for me is this level 2 ult. It feels like the extra range more than anything. Like the extra 100 range, you definitely feel it. It feels really good.
The void minds not your existence.
Bounty Hunter and Venge are pretty decent supports, I'd say, for a void as well. Like, the Bounty Hunter can scout for you and put track on people, obviously, that buffs your hero a lot. Like, you're going to get most of your gold through kills anyway, so doing that even more owns. And the max QBH build, I think that people are going, I'll double check he's going it. Yeah, this is like a good amount of damage to follow up on you. He gets like 2 off on a fight, maybe 3 a long fight. And Venge Stun and the minus armor also synergizes pretty well with Void Spirit. Not to mention like the aura later on will be good too. So we see this Puck, but I don't remember if we found him or not. Just chilling and farming. I do end up going BKB. I don't hate it. I do have a lot of extra damage from the Magnuson power. Kill. He already found the real PL. That's unfortunate. I was wondering why he was like running forward at him so much in the game. So yeah, being really active, right? Like I am killing creeps here and there. I'm not like 111 CS is not a low amount. Most cores will have maybe like 150 by 20 minutes, 140. Void Spirit tends to be on the lower side if you're getting a lot of kills and there's a lot of action going on. I definitely would rather have 9 kills than 40 more CS. Or even like 3 or 4 more kills than that much more CS. It'll feel a lot worse to play this hero in more passive games. So that was like a good example of using the W to go in instead of waiting for ult or something. And using it like before I'm in melee range, so being comfortable with the like range there is nice. And I still have my ult for getting out if I need to, which I definitely need to. Oh, he even, I remember this. I ulted at the same time he swapped, and he like screamed in Russian on the mic. That made me laugh in game. Farm. BKB will help against the Chain Frost and the Puck mostly. And like another reason why Void Spirit's so good in this particular game, very, very good at killing Lich and Shadow Demon, right? Those are 2 squishy backline saving supports. Silence is also very debilitating for those type of save supports. Also great against Puck, so it's like all 3 of them put together. I should take the Aegis here, but I don't think I did. I think the PL grabbed it. So Shadow Demon and Lich are kind of just casting all their spells on me, not getting much done. It's annoying to get purged, I will say that. I think we got the Puck here, yeah. No, he got out. Oh yeah, there's a part in this game where I feel like I put my Q underneath the Puck's Yules, and he still got out. So I wanna see that if possible.
Radiant's bottom tower
Right here.
is under attack.
Did I miss? It doesn't look like I missed, right? Is he supposed to be able to phase shift it? I thought they added like a cast time to it. I think it was active. That's just really weird. I'm not sure. Maybe I missed. Like, maybe there's some weird angle thing there. And again, even though Magnus, like, gives me empower and my ult doesn't cleave, it just feels so good for the in-between time when you're farming. And I have 165 base damage. The plus damage alone is super worth it.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
You can tell in a game like this is going pretty well for me. I'm not farming that many jungle creeps either. Most of the creeps I take are lane farm and then back to the team. Lane farm and then back to the team. And if I can, I'll take some jungle camp so there's nothing to do. Oh, it's easy puck kill. So like that was actually like not as badly played from the puck as you think. What I did here is I waited for his orb to kind of be halfway over. Like, watch this, okay? He shoots the orb. I wait for it to get it out a decent amount. So if I silence him now and he uses, he won't be able to teleport to that orb, and he already blinked in. So this is his ticket out. And if I wait just a little bit, BKB silence, he can't teleport to the orb. If he uses himself, he won't be able to go to that orb. It's less so about jumping the puck first and like getting him while he has all his cooldowns. It's about punishing him if he goes in, especially if he like goes to nuke a wave or something. If one of his 2 escapes are down, you're almost always going to catch this hero. Yeah, very straightforward. That's a huge streak too.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Daedalus is for sure the right build this game with an Empower Magnus. And like, again, Puck, Shadow Demon, and Lich are all squishy heroes to right-click damage as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Boom, boom. Just dealing with this constant wave shoved in top. At least I have the outpost, the TP2, and the tier 2 tower mid, tier 1 bottom, so I can still kind of join team. Monkey King is just a free kill. I don't know if we can kill the Brood or the Puck here. I believe. Yeah, it's worth it anyway. Oh, this is going to be a hard kill, I think. Oh, no, we just... Never mind. I was thinking of a different game, I think, where they BKB'd and just ran around in circles. Love to hear go end the Quinn. Love to hear that when you're playing a Dota game. Nothing sweeter to the ears. Nullifier next. Without even looking at their heroes right now, even just for the Lich Shield, Monkey King's passive also, not the stacking, but when he does have Jingu. That was a terrible kill. Sometimes the camera angle is just weird. I don't know. I don't have any other cope for that other than like I like clicked it up the hill, but like because of the hill, I don't know. You don't flame me in the comments, please. Okay, you can flame me in the comments. I deserve it. Hex next for the Puck instead of Nullifier. It's really one or the other here. Lich Shield also gets dispelled, I believe. They probably have a Glimmer or something too. Like it's just like I mean, Solar Crest is the patch item as well. This is a perfect example. I'm going to move the camera a bit just to play this back. This is what Void Spirit with a Daedalus does to supports. Bonk. Best Spirit at killing supports fast. Storm is also really annoying for supports, but you're not going to have the same explosive burst damage. It's going to be like a bunch of mixed magic and right clicks and not so much like a Daedalus burst. Same thing with Puck. Puck is nice at finding supports, but it's like a slow burn with a couple Witchblade procs and like a couple Blink Silence orbs in. Yeah, that'll probably wrap up this game. I believe we just end the game here. I could be wrong. If you guys have any other questions about Void Spirit in the comments, I try to include as much as possible. These guides are pretty long, but, you know, no one's perfect. You guys saw how many spells I missed in this game. There's probably like a few important tidbits of information I also missed in the guide. I'm still new to YouTube, so hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Stay tuned for the next one, which will be QoP. And yeah, have a good, happy grinding some MMR. Love me some Void Spirit.